ex-footballer and broadcaster. So I just want to ask you a few questions regarding your playing career and also your broadcasting career.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. So can you tell me about your playing career and how you started in women's football?
Yeah, of course. So I started playing football when I was about 6 or 7 years old, just on the street, just with boys in the area, because there wasn't a lot of girls playing at that time. And then I was quite fortunate enough that I had a girls' football team at my school, so I played with them for a couple of years. I spent a year at Leighton Orient Academy for about a year or so, but I didn't really want to play professional football at that time. I wanted to become a lawyer. And then I went to university, studied law, and then when I came back again, I decided to trial for Tottenham Hotspur. But at that time they were in Tier 3, so it was quite a grassroots feel, and this was years ago as well. Got into Tottenham Hotspur and then played with them for 5 years, and then we just we kept getting really good results, and we kept delivering wins, and then we ended up going into the Championship, and then finally into the WSL in 2019. So stayed with the team for a year in the WSL, and then joined Crystal Palace in the last 2 years of my playing career, and then retired 3 or 4 years ago now. So yeah, it's been a while.
And in your playing career, who would you say the toughest opponents were?
Do you know what? Arsenal were the toughest opponents. We used to face up, because when I was with Crystal Palace, we used to face them. We used to always get them drawn in the FA Cup fixture. And I remember the last time I played Arsenal, Viv Miedemar was on the team, and the score was 9-0. And obviously I was in goal, so it was quite demoralising having 9 goals put past you. But yeah, it was good fun playing against like Katie McCabe and Viv Miedemar and Leah Williamson. It was a great experience, but obviously not a good result at all.
And did you ever get a chance to play for England?
No, I didn't. No, never played for England. Yeah, never got the call up.
And in terms of players you played against or with, who was your favourite?
There was quite a few. So Jenna Scalacci, the captain of Spurs, I played with her pretty much for my entire time at Spurs. She's always a very calm, level-headed captain, and now she's one of my good friends as well. She's still at Spurs, managing the Under-21s Academy, which is great. And also Josie Green, who I used to play with at Spurs as well. She's now pregnant. She moved on to Palace. But she's like a really cool, calm head, and she used to do sort of yoga sessions with us before training, which is really lovely. But they're two of my favourite players that I've played with.
And in terms of any young girl going into football now, what would your advice be to them?
I think resilience. I think, competition has definitely got a lot tougher since I was playing. I think more girls want to play football at a really high level. So I think it's really tough sometimes to go through trials and get those rejections, and sometimes be with teams and then be let go and have to go to other teams. So I've had moments in my career where it's been going really well. Got into the WSL and I was first team keeper, and then I've also had seasons where I've not played much at all and I've been on the bench for large periods of time, and I think that's just the nature of football careers. Like sometimes you're doing really well, other seasons not so well, but I think it's just trying to keep balanced and level-headed. At the end of the day, football's a game. It's not life and death, so always try and enjoy it where you can, but try and take the pressure off, and that would be my best advice.
So away from football, how did you get from football to broadcasting?
So when I left Spurs, I decided to speak quite publicly about some of the experiences that I'd had at Spurs. I was quite honest in that I didn't think the women's team had been treated particularly well. When I was with the club, I think things have obviously changed quite a lot since then. But from going public, I think a lot of the broadcasters kind of wanted to talk to me about my experiences, and then when I was on those shows, naturally then they sort of invited me back to do more shows, and then ended up doing some punditry, doing some co-commentary, and doing more hosting gigs really, and really enjoying that side of it as well.
And what's been your favourite moment as a broadcaster so far?
There's been quite a few games that I've commentated on. I wouldn't say as a broadcaster, but I was invited to be in the box with LinkedIn. We were doing a campaign with them in 2022. and they invited me to go and see the Lionesses final at Wembley when they lifted the Euros trophy in 2022, and that was probably one of the best moments of my life. I'll never forget. It gives me goosebumps even talking about it. So yeah, that was definitely. I think even if I had kids, I'd still say that was the best moment of my life. Yeah.
And what would your advice be for someone going into the media world in sport?
I think trying to speak to as many people as possible. I think there's a lot of amazing people who are entering the space or have been a part of the women's media space for quite a long time. I think sometimes it can be quite difficult to get into the right rooms, but I think coming to events like this, going down to the games, speaking to fans on the day, creating content yourself, that's super helpful. But I think it's the consistency. So all the content creators that I speak to are, they're publishing content, daily, sometimes a couple of times a day, and kind of building audiences that way. But a lot of the broadcasters are starting to look at people with big social media followings. So I think that's always helpful.
And do you think it's harder for women to get into the sporting world than it is men?
I think we're at a really interesting time, because I think where women's sports evolved, I think a lot of broadcasters are looking to get more women involved in women's sports, but not necessarily open doors for women to go into men's sports. So I think there are more opportunity for women generally, but not necessarily in men's sports, because I think that's still very male dominated. And a lot of the broadcasters kind of choose to use people that are very well established, have big profiles and big names. So yeah, less so on that side, but I think there are opportunities in women's sports to find your feet.
And how do you think that can change, or how do you think that can help be changed in the future going forward?
I think a lot of it's probably from broadcaster mindset. I think it's a really tough one. It has to kind of come from the top, and people need to change who they're using and use a variety of different people, so that the more voices that you get in the space, the better, really. Diversity is always key, but sometimes the broadcasters stick to who they know.
And just one last question: what's your experience been of this day at this conference?
I've loved it. I've absolutely loved it. I've gone to go and see a couple of talks. Obviously, I hosted a talk with Natalie Washington, who is just an amazing person. Spoke so honestly about her experiences, being a part of the trans community. And all the things that have gone on with the FA and the ban last year, and also the hesitation she feels about the Men's World Cup and what that could throw up. But also it's been lovely, kind of sat here, and then I've had people come along and sort of have loads of lovely conversations with students, people in charities, fellow goalkeepers as well. So I've kind of been sat here in the sun just having a lot of lovely conversations. So it's been a really lovely day.
Thank you.